U.S. presidential hopeful Marco Rubio has some good words to say about his potential rival in 2016. During an interview with ABC This Week on Sunday, Rubio spoke on Jeb Bush exploring a presidential run.
The people can look at, as I said, I think that Jeb's going to be a very credible, strong candidate if he decides to run.
Guy Cecil won't be managing Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign. A campaign hand for Clinton in 2008, Cecil was seen as a potential manager if she were to run again. Instead, he'll be helping the former Secretary of State in a non-campaign capacity. Without him, speculation is swirling on who will take the lead. Hillary's timetable for announcing a campaign has been a source of speculation among Democrats looking to work for her. Representative Michelle Bachmann is retiring after 8 years in Congress. Bachmann rode the Tea Party's momentum to Capitol Hill and riled leaders on both sides of the aisle. And for a brief moment, she was even a frontrunner during her 2012 presidential run, winning an Iowa straw poll. Chris Christie can't help himself. It's just that easy to get his goat. The New Jersey governor is often called a bully for his town hall tirades against constituents and his impatience with reporters. But could his tough guy demeanor hurt him if he decides to seek the Republican nomination? Our chief Washington correspondent Jessica Murphy joins us now to talk about Christie's year and his temper. So Jessica, his tendency to yell at people, a bit of a defining characteristic for him, but the jury's still out in terms of whether that could help him or maybe that could harm him.
It is still out, and it really depends on who you talk to. It's one of those characteristics that people find refreshing, maybe even endearing, and then you ask a different group of people and they really find it mean-spirited. They call it bullying. But before we get into sort of the nut of it, I want to play a trio of some of his greatest hits. Let's watch.
What we need, yeah, good. And there's been 23 months since then when all you've been doing is flapping your mouth and not doing anything. So listen, you want to have the conversation later, I'm happy to have it, buddy. But until that time, sit down and shut up.
And let me tell you something. After you graduate from law school, you conduct yourself like that in the courtroom, your rear end's going to get thrown in jail, idiot.
On Monday, are you going to be addressing the legislature?
Did I say on topic? Are you stupid? On topic. On topic. Next question.
Karen, he is definitely no shrinking violet. And the Washington Post actually caught up with some of the people who'd borne the brunt of that temper to ask them how they felt about it now, down the road, of months and years down the road. Some of them said they still felt like they'd been bullied, that they were still a little upset about it. Others admitted that they'd gone into these town hall meetings. He tends to hold these regular town halls with constituents where he takes questions, knowing about his reputation and really going in there to needle him to see if they could get a reaction, because they know that that means that they'll get headlines, and whatever issues they bring with them will also be covered in those news stories. Now, what does it mean for 2016? Well, so far, only one other potential rival has weighed in, and that's Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. He's no shrinking violet himself. He said that he does actually think that in some ways this is refreshing, that Christie is so plain-spoken, but he says he thinks he goes too far, and he doesn't think that it will play well, especially in the South, where they expect a bit more of a gentlemanly demeanor that obviously Christie doesn't necessarily have, certainly in these cases. But finally, Christie himself, he's unapologetic. He says, look, he's the son of an Irishman and a Sicilian mother, and basically he was born that way, Karen.
So bottom line, he's had a bit of a rocky year, and you're right, he's no shrinking violet. I'd say he's more of a thorny rose, but it seems like he's ending on something of a high note, doesn't it?
He did. He started off his year. He was reelected for a second term, so he began his second term as governor of New Jersey. But he started off his year with so-called Bridgegate. That was in January. It was that scandal, that controversy around Bridge Lane closures that really embroiled a lot of people in his administration. But in December, a special investigation into that actually said so far they've uncovered no evidence whatsoever that he was involved. And it did look for a while like it could tank his ambitions for 2016, ambitions he's been very open about. So on that front, looking good, but also he was heading up the Republican Governors Association during this key midterm year. Lots of wins there that he helped deliver in places like Florida, Maine, Wisconsin, difficult races. getting a lot of friends on board for that. So if you look at him in January, looked like it was a rough start, but he is indeed ending on a high note, Karen.
All right, Jessica Murphy reporting for us live from Washington. Good to chat with you.